Rough night for the Clippers.
My goodness.
Or
Sweet.
just a good night for the Mavs.
Yeah,
Who knows?
okay.
Rick, was last night an impressive Mavs win or a bad Clippers loss?
As much as you know that I like to accentuate the positive, and you do know that.
Yeah.
No, this was this was a bad Clippers loss. They didn't just lose; they lost by 30. Okay?
Worst playoff loss in their history.
And we're talking about the 4th seed playing the 5th seed and playing a game that looked very similar to watching the 8th seed Miami Heat.
Hey,
What?
Oh, yeah. Georgia.
Hey, sometimes
without Jimmy. Okay.
without a lot.
And
Without
Terry.
Without a lot.
Okay.
Nonetheless, okay.
Leave the Heat out of it, all right?
A hobbled, undermanned 8th-seeded Miami Heat team
Yes.
Okay, there we go.
playing the #1 Boston Celtics on the road. The Clippers at home in a pivotal Game 5 are playing the 5th seed against a hobbled Luka Doncic, and they get run by 30.
Ran out the building.
Embarrassed. So as much as my hat is off to Luka Doncic and the Dallas Mavericks because they came out and they played like they wanted this game, had more energy, defended to the hilt. This is the Clippers, and as much as often as we see it, it's still mind-boggling to see one more time a team that is that talented do a no-show on their home floor. And by the way, can we just see, this is what really made it bad, is that they're at home and they got a certain guy who's sitting watching this. This is the beginning of the, is that, what quarter is that? Like,
End of the third.
You know I can't. I do not have my glasses on.
that's
There's
the
no way I
third
can
quarter.
see what
And
this
that is your
says.
owner going,
Okay,
you
third
are
quarter.
doing what?
Yeah.
That makes it a bad Clippers loss.
Yeah, he thinking about the people he finna cut and trade and all that right there. That's that
Right
look.
there.
James. Good Mavs
Oh,
win.
the
bad
same
Clippers
old
loss.
Clippers, man. This is what the Clippers do. I know it's the worst loss in the playoffs in the history of their organization, but this is just what the Clippers do, though. They lay eggs when it's time to play big-time basketball. I knew they was in trouble when my man Luka came out there with that fresh mohawk and that fresh haircut. I knew Luka was about to be about business, but to be honest with you, I'm not surprised. The Dallas Mavericks, the last half of the season after the trade deadline, were arguably the best team in basketball. They just came into this thing, into the playoffs, playing at a very, very high level. Luka and Kyrie is better than PG and James Harden. When they took the court, that's what it looked like. I am not surprised about it. That's why I'm not even blaming the Clippers. I'm more impressed with the Mavs. I think this has more to do with the Mavs because they've been one of the best defensive basketball teams since the trade deadline, and they put that on display last night. Obviously, Luka never goes out there and has back-to-back bad games. He's always a superstar that's going to respond and back it up, and that's exactly what he did. This is a very, very good Mavs win against a team without Kawhi Leonard that everybody was excited about because they beat them 2 times without Kawhi, but you need your superstars to win in this league. The superstars on the court last night was Kyrie and Luka, and they showed up and put a spanking on the Clippers.
Did they?
It was rough to watch after a while. After really going into the half, it was starting to look sketchy. And, well, yeah, sure, if you're excited about the Mavs looking that way. Look, this was a very pivotal win. We talked about it yesterday. You have an 80% chance of winning the series if you win this game. It's a critical point in a long series. You have an opportunity to take advantage of the Clippers not having Kawhi out there. That's why I don't want to go too crazy on the Clippers, although there's plenty to dig into. You aren't 100% healthy. And look, either Kawhi Leonard matters or he doesn't.
Yeah.
I think he does. You can make the argument that they're playing better without him, but it is still Kawhi Leonard.
He does.
So I can give them a tiny bit of grace in that they were not fully staffed.
But wouldn't you say you don't have Kawhi, and so as a result, you have to play harder? You know, because that to me, it was the lack of energy, the difference in the Dallas Mavericks and the way they were getting after it.
And that's why I think it is a good Mavs win, because they took advantage of the moment. They took advantage of the opportunity. Some people may not have looked at it as an opportunity because they were playing better without Kawhi. I don't look at it as such. But the Mavs took advantage of that. They came out with more energy. They were more aggressive. They played better. They played a complete game. Luka looked like the Luka that we wanted him to look like. Kyrie's been unbelievable. So I think it's a really good Mavs win. But, TJ, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, you got to give the Mavs credit. I expected the Mavs to win this series. Kawhi Leonard's not playing. They're really going to win this series, but Kawhi's never playing. And so you can, when it gets, I don't even know how Kawhi Leonard, how you get put on an Olympic team and you can't play for your own team in the playoffs?
Yeah, well,
might
be honorary.
I don't know how does that happen? But you have to give the Dallas Mavericks, Luka, Kyrie, and Jason Kidd, you got to give them a lot of credit because Luka wasn't playing a ton of defense prior to the second half of this season, and he started to turn it on. Kyrie Irving wanted to play for the Lakers. It looked like they ain't want him. Look what he's doing now. I bet they wish they had him now. And so the way they beat them by 30 points in the game that the Clippers needed to win, you have to give the Mavs their credit that you come into L.A. and embarrass them. That was an embarrassing loss.
It was.
Smacked them. Kyrie and Luka, they got their feet kicked up with 8 minutes left in the game.
So they won by 30, but you're going to give all of that to the Dallas Mavericks? Or didn't the Clippers have, I mean, from watching, the Clippers had a hand in it.
Yeah, but they didn't have
what
Kawhi.
they didn't do.
Westbrook went 2 for 11. He only played 15 minutes.
Yeah.
James Harden didn't play well. Paul George, very rarely in playoff basketball, your 3 best players all shoot poorly from the field. That's rare.
Okay.
You may have all 3 of them shot the ball poorly.
Yes, they did.
From the first quarter, right? It was 25-24 Dallas Mavericks. Game was kind of close and back and forth. The Dallas Mavericks missed 9 of their first 10 three-pointers. And they are clearly the smaller team physically than the Clippers. They out-rebounded them in the first quarter. If you ever had, the score doesn't really tell where we're going here, it was the first quarter in that the Dallas Mavericks came out of the first quarter leading by 1 in spite of missing 9 out of 10 threes because they were simply outworking the Clippers.
It's the hidden stats, though. Deflection, steals, rebounds.
Energy and effort is not
Ty Lue.
something you coach. No, that's not something you coach. And it's not talent. It is
It's
effort.
your Valentine. Your Valentine.
Okay, so the Dallas Mavericks showed up with a heart, and the Clippers did not.
Somebody got to get you ready to play, though, right?
I think the check in your bank account should get you ready to play, personally, especially when you're at this point in the season. I get it night in and night out over a long course of a season. Maybe you need a little spark here and there, but this is game 5 at home, a critical game. You don't have one of your best players out there in Kawhi Leonard. You probably should have a bit more urgency if that is the issue. I can't put that entirely at the feet of the coach. I got to explain to you how important this game is.
They think they're going to move to this new arena and sell this thing out?
Okay, there's a little bit,
They really think they're going to go do that? They really think they're going to go do that?
While we're with that, staying in the Western Conference, let's talk about your Lakers. TJ, what do you think about this report? Would it be a good move? Would it be the right move for the Lakers to move on from Darvin Ham?
It's tough, but yeah. And I'm going to say that, and I'm going to ask Mr. NBA here this. If I believe Eric Spoelstra is the best coach in the NBA.
He was my coach of the year this year.
If Eric Spoelstra is the coach of the Lakers, do they lose that series 4-1?
No.
And that so when you tell me no, if you believe you can get a coach that can do a better job, you have to make a move.
Okay, but Spoelstra's unavailable. I can confirm. Spoelstra's not coming back.
He's unavailable.
He's unavailable, not on the market.
Win the series,
but yes, that's my question, though. Do I think they would have won more games with Spoelstra?
Wait.
Yes, but do they win the series, or do they have the roster to win that series?
Wait. Game 2 and 5, we should have won them things. We should have won.
Okay, Mr. Reed, but hold on. Are they going to win the
It's quite possible. It's quite possible.
We're going to revisit last year where they would have, could have, should have won how many of those games?
Man, the way we controlled this series,
you led for
minus
70%
the
of
last
the
5 minutes of the game.
That's the 5 minutes that matter.
You just got to lock in that.
And that's
you don't think the Nuggets
when the game is here,
that's a good.
That's coaching. When the game is here,
say that again.
That's coaching.
Say that again.
Yes.
So when the game is here and your star player take 2 shots and score 4 points in the fourth quarter, that's Ham?
LeBron, the star player, not Anthony Davis. LeBron, the star player.
So the player that you needed to win the series scores 4 points in the fourth quarter with 5 minutes left in the game. That's Ham?
Ultimately, the players got to get it done.
Man.
But if y'all all in agreement that if it was a different coach, a better coach, that they would win more games.
I don't think that Darvin did a perfect job. And when you have a gentleman sweep in the first round with LeBron James and Anthony Davis and the Los Angeles Lakers, answers have to be given for that failure, right? Like there's blame to go around here. I don't disagree with that. But how much better can you make a roster? Like, how much better can a coach make a roster is the question to me when it comes down to, are they actually capable of beating this team? Because to me, top to bottom, the Nuggets are a better team. They are a better roster. Are they better coached? Probably as well. Like, I think he's a better coach, but they have a better roster.
For in Jokic. We don't have an answer for him. We too light. We don't have enough weight in the behind to deal with Joker. But I was talking with Rick about this earlier. Like, you have to know who's the shooters. If you're going to double Jokic, and Michael Porter is at the top of the key, and you got Christian Brown, however you pronounce his last name, on the wing, and D'Angelo Russell's in between, I'm taking Porter out. You going to make Christian Brown. I'm making him shoot that three.
Okay, so who's that on?
To me, it got to be on the coaching.
Come on.
Now, and if it's on the player, I'm taking you out. You can't play. You don't know what we're doing.
Exactly.
You don't know what we're doing.
What Darvin Ham working with? He take these people out now.
Honestly, Darvin Ham knows that this is an impossible situation, which I believe.
So crazy.
Are they making the right move? Yes, and I believe Darvin Ham is party to.
When you say what he just said, where your clip at? You say,
yeah.
When you say that, you like, please let me go. I don't want to be here.
But everything that he said, and this in particular, because I think there was a point where they wanted to keep him. But when you say, when one of your starters is like 10 games in a row, just blanking the bed, what are you going to do? Like, no coach. And the belief is that was about D'Angelo Russell. D'Angelo Russell was one of the guys in that locker room that actually had Darvin Ham's back, at least earlier this season. And so when you're pointing the finger at that, what it says to me is, I know this is an impossible situation. Like, I don't want to coach this team anymore because I'm only going to wear whatever doesn't work. And I believe he was given a flawed roster, to Joy's point. Like, everybody was all up in arms about the fact that he kept changing the rotation and changing the who was starting, the starting lineup. Well, when you have either offensive players or defensive players, you're constantly looking for something that's going to work where you have guys that can do both for you. It's why Cam Reddish got the looks that he did early on, because athletically, physically, he can be dynamic offensively and he can defend. And so you see, can he fit? Can he fit with these other pieces? And the heart of it is, LeBron James no longer plays defense, okay? And AD doesn't consistently show up. Those are your two best players.
AD showed up this entire season. I'm gonna give him credit. He showed up.
And in the playoffs, did he show up consistently?
He showed up. I mean, he was knocked down. Everybody like, oh, AD again. Get right back in there.
What were you talking about, right?
4 points.
Right?
2 points.
What was it? What were those numbers?
4 points, I believe.
Yeah.
That's one game. One game.
I mean, I don't think his fourth quarter points were great throughout the entire series. But James, what do you think?
I mean, you know, at one point, TJ, we can't keep blaming the quarterback for throwing bad passes. At one point, we got to go.
We got receiver talk.
At one point, we got to go up and get the ball. And we got to make the quarterback look good. They pointed fingers at Darvin Ham all year long every time something went wrong. Darvin Ham is not bouncing the ball off his foot. Darvin Ham is not coming out there like D-Lo and going 0 for whatever, shooting the basketball. Darvin Ham is not showing up in the fourth quarter getting buckets. And still, you get your players like Anthony Davis and Bron getting up there, always pointing the finger at him. Oh, well, we wasn't prepared for this and all that type of stuff. Go get the ball and score a bucket.
The last 3 minutes of a game.
Oh, his players is trying to get him to challenge that stuff. LeBron yelling at him for challenging that stuff. It's just, as being the Lakers coach or being a LeBron coach, when things get hard, he tends to point the finger at the coach. And now the spotlight is on the coach. You guys were not making the plays when you had to make the plays. The Nuggets were making the plays when they had to make the plays. Yes, you can touch on one or two things about coaching in a series in the game. Sure, you can do that about every coach. But at the end of the day, the players got to go out there and make the plays. When he needed his big-time players to show up, they didn't. When the Nuggets' big-time players needed to show up, they did. And they won the series point-blank, period. And they continue to point the finger at the coach. So let LeBron and AD hire the next coach, so if something go wrong, the coach can point it at them. Because that's all they really doing.
Nah. You know what?
You got to go score some buckets.
You know what I really love about this, Joy? Remember where James was?
I was on
series?
Man, that's why I'm so frustrated. You hear it in my voice. I was with him in the Lakers.
We've brought him over.
Yeah, because Darvin had that great speech after the play-in win. The problem is the roster. And if you aren't a Eric Spoelstra or a coach that has habitually shown the ability to elevate players from either the unknown.
Gabe Vincent.
Well, speaking of Gabe Vincent, he averaged 1.4 points per game. That's not enough.
He robbed the bank without a mask.
Okay, but did he rob the bank, or was he in a better system with a better roster and a better coach?
He was by far in a better situation than Miami.
Sure. Okay. So when you look at the acquisitions and the playoff scoring since off-season, you got Spencer Dinwiddie at the trade deadline. He averaged 3 points per game. Christian Wood didn't play. Cam Reddish didn't play. Jackson Hayes, 0.3 points per game. You don't have enough contributions from the rest of the roster. And I don't want to blame it on, the guys on the bench. I don't want to go all the way down. But when you don't have what you need from, let's take LeBron out of it. LeBron did everything he was supposed to do. When you don't have contributions from your second best player or best player, however you want to look at it, and Anthony Davis, in the fourth quarter, as James said, when it matters most, yes, Anthony Davis did an incredible job during the regular season. He was the healthiest he's ever been, and he contributed greatly during the postseason, except for in the fourth quarter. And whoever has the most points at the end of the game is the team that wins. So that's how it works. So you need a complete game, or you need to be able to step up in big moments. Yes, there were games that they were close and that they were in. Close the game. That's what greats do.
You guys remember the statement that Anthony Davis made?
Yeah.
We're just out here running around. We don't know what we're doing.
That's what I'm saying. Point fingers.
I know what
you ain't doing. You ain't scoring in the fourth quarter,
point
TJ.
Fingers. I call it just telling the truth.
Okay,
TJ,
I don't. My question is this, though. My question is this: Darvin Ham deserves some criticism for sure. I don't think he did a perfect job. He's not escaping criticism in this place. But he didn't put this roster together. So whoever's responsible for putting this roster together also deserves the same amount of criticism, because outside of Lakers fans, everyone else in the NBA sports world can look objectively at this roster and say this roster is not good enough to compete with the Nuggets. And we don't really need to do too much research, because we can see how many games in a row they've lost to this team. Yeah. This is not a roster that is good enough. It's not.
They say that because we've been running into the Denver Nuggets.
Okay.
But a good coach is going to make that roster look better.
What I'm saying, Spoelstra is a good coach, and he made the roster look better last year. And what did it still equal against the Nuggets?
There you go.
A loss. The series.
The Miami Heat roster don't compare to the Lakers. It does not compare.
Man, they was in the finals, man.
Yes.
It does not compare.
It was in the finals from the play-in game, man.
It's better.
The Lakers?
No.
The Lakers have
not last year. Not last year, was it?
It's the same team.
No, bro.
It's not. Look. The better team wins the series, right? Like that's how it goes.
Wait, one more time. Sorry.
The better team wins the series. This isn't a one-off game.
I don't believe the Lakers should be playing tonight.
Ooh, you got
That's
Lakers
all I'm saying.
You got Lakers tattoos?
We should.
Okay,
but we should be playing.
But that
I don't even want to watch the playoffs. If Anthony Edwards wasn't playing, I wouldn't even be watching it anymore.
Playing tonight and winning the series are two entirely different conversations. And whether or not you keep running into the Nuggets or not, one way or another, you're going to run into the Nuggets. So you better figure out a way to beat the Nuggets, and this roster isn't good enough. My other question, though, with Darvin Ham is, LeBron is not playing for much longer, right? We don't know if it's this year, if it's 2 years, if it's 3 years, but we know it's not 5 years, right? We're assuming within the next 5 years we're not going to have LeBron James in the NBA. So you are getting another coach in for the Lakers, which is where we believe LeBron James will be.
It's going to be short term. Yeah.
So what is, like, is this a coach that's worked with LeBron before? Like, who is it that you're bringing in here?
It's going to be significantly better and is going to change the template for what you have. Because then you're going to go into rebuilding when LeBron is gone. And that's an entirely different kind of coach than what you're going to get when you're supposedly trying to
win
make
now.
the most
So
out of
this next
right
coach that you bring in, what's he trying to accomplish?
I asked TJ.
A
He's
defensive
part of,
identity.
Okay, good. The only reason why I say that is because this coach in 2 years took you to the Western Conference Finals and took you to the playoffs. So what's the next coach going to come in here?
And you had Frank
to the
Vogel.
championship?
When we play the Denver Nuggets in the playoffs,
Yeah.
we win 1 game out of 8.
So
that ain't enough.
So 4-2 in the series will make Darvin Ham keep his job. Because what you talking about, it ain't going to a game.
I don't like, yes.
Win
like,
more than 1
so
game.
if they won 2 games, Darvin keeps his job?
That's all I'm saying. Like,
it's the way we're
Listen,
losing.
TJ, here's what I can't get with you. Here's where I draw the line
young
with this.
TJ.
We are talking about the Los Angeles Lakers.
Yeah.
The standard
Mediocrity is not us.
Okay, but it's kind of sounding like that. It's kind of sound like that because if the difference between a coach keeping his job and not keeping his job is not winning the series, it's just winning another game in the series.
But y'all fired a coach
It's
because
optics, how it looks. Like, were we competitive, like 4-1? Like,
That's
you
what it
can't.
is.
Yeah.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
It is optics.
So-
We're in Hollywood,
Yes.
and perception is reality.
So what was it with Frank Vogel? Y'all won a championship and he
oh,
got
good
fired?
point. That was a defensive coach.
Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.